Hi students, a warm welcome to all of you. So we are here to guide you with more tips. Hope all of you are already had in your revision. Now you are having completely in your revision track for the JEE Mains 2022. Hope all of you have completed your syllabus properly and done sufficient number of problems in each and every chapter. All right, now you are all in revision mode, and exactly we have the last phase which we are having around 40 to 45 days. So in which if we can cover some chapters properly, we can revise some chapters properly, okay, and we can score really well for our JEE Mains 2022 exam. Okay, so here is a list what we have taken care of in such a way that we have certain chapters are there, like you will put in a lot of effort and wherein the weightage may be less. Okay, so we are talking strictly on the JEE Mains exam, and there will be some chapters in which with minimum effort you can score more marks. Okay, so smarter way of exactly preparing for the JEE Mains exam. Okay, so that is what here we are. So we have some few chapters in which a lot of questions are asked in the JEE Mains exam, and in which we have good weightage, and even if you invest some less time over there, and you'll score very good marks in that particular chapters. So here is a list. So here is our first list wherein we have high weightage chapters, and which will have a less time, it will be consuming very less time, and you can score very good amount of marks. Okay, right. One is the topics related to the modern physics. So recently you might have completed, even for your IP preparation also you might have completed these chapters. So these are all second year chapters. Okay, so first is dual nature of matter. First set I will take dual nature of matter, atomic physics and nuclear physics. So this is the first set of chapter wherein you will be getting in these three questions. You may be most likely to get around these three chapters. So of course in that also which are the subtopics which are having more weightage and all that also I'll let you know. So dual nature of matter, we have photoelectric effects, de Broglie wavelengths, and theory of the photons and all related questions will be asked. Okay, when it comes to the atomic physics, you have a Bohr's hydrogen model, easy to learn, and also the X-rays, in that characteristic X-rays and continuous X-rays, or sometimes can be a combination questions with your Bohr's hydrogen model and photoelectric effects also, right? And the next part is nuclear physics. In this, it is divided into two parts. One is completely on the radioactivity, and the second part is completely on the binding energy. So compulsory out of these two, any one question definitely will be asked. So, and easy to learn in the nuclear physics also, basic concepts, just writing all those small points on a piece of paper and nicely doing the problems. If you look at the questions in the 2019, 20, 21 and all, okay, you can be comfortably, you can do these problems, right? So these chapters are such that we cannot miss out, right, the preparation, and if we prepare properly and with less time also, we can score more marks in that particular thing. And our next topic is semiconductors. So in this, again in the semiconductor device also, let me tell you, we are having graphs related. Okay, whenever you have a graphs, VI characteristics of the PN junction diode, okay, most of the time they'll be asking you theoretical questions which are based on the graphs, and applications of the PN junction diode, whether it is a solar cell or LED or photodiode, and those related graphs. Okay, direct questions, this graph. If at all, if they are putting in the numericals also in semiconductors, that is relatively easy. Or maybe they may ask you like conductivity of a semiconductor, which is because of both electrons and holes, or else it can be the transistors which is working as an amplifier. So we know the simple formulas, and even in the transistors also there are three graphs in which you have input characteristics, output characteristics, and the transfer characteristics, and based on those graphs when the transistor can act like a switch or when it can act like an amplifier. So strictly our NCERT book we are following for semiconductor device, that is more than enough. Okay, going through just the concepts, Small amount of numericals if you practice also, but concepts clarity if you have nicely, you can answer the questions in the semiconductor devices, right? And next is electromagnetic waves. One upcoming chapter I can say electromagnetic waves. See, this chapter even in 2022 planning to introduce even for the JEE advanced also. So here also again simple formulas, what exactly is an electromagnetic wave, basic thing, how the electric field and magnetic fields are changing, what is the relation between electric field, magnetic field and the speed of the electromagnetic wave, what is the intensity of the electromagnetic wave, like that simple things, going through the concepts, clarity, okay, revising, when you revise with more clarity, okay, easily you can score the marks and compulsory questions will be likely, okay. Next is again the communication systems. So again in this communication systems, so if at all they're asking the numericals, as we already know, we are practicing the previous years JEE questions also. So either the questions are asked in the antennas, okay, height of that tower, what is required to cover so and so distance, okay, or else they are asking on the modulated wave, amplitude modulated wave. So regarding the modulation index, regarding the side bands, okay, that equation we know in the NCERT book. So only based on that equation, a lot of questions every time they are asking. So easy to, again I'm telling you, which is very easy to revise, okay, hardly takes very less time. Suppose communication system, it's all about just a half an hour. If you can revise properly, you can easily score one question, okay, without putting much of your effort at all, okay, right. So next is again after this, so here this can be classified like first 3 chapters I can say it as a modern physics, and second 3 chapters I can say it's like a electronics related, right. And next comes alternating currents. Again this is a chapter in electricity and magnetism part. In that, so what best chapter we can pull out starting, so that compulsory question you may come across, because the examiners who are setting the paper, they'll segregate the things and they'll make sure that whichever chapter if we can give, because in future if you are likely to take electrical engineering, so more of the things are in alternating currents only. So definitely they'll be putting you one question. It can be in a series LCR circuits, right, or it can be power, right, apparent power, true power. So based on that alternating currents also questions can be put up, okay, right. So next is effortless chapter, units and dimensions. So of course day one you are learning these units and dimensions, but I suggest if at all they are asking the dimension formulas, it will be from the second year part. It can be from electromagnetic induction, some physical quantities are there like magnetic flux, inductance, right, magnetic fields, all right, or in electromagnetism or electromagnetic induction, those related chapters, whatever the terms we are coming across, physical quantities, for the dimensional formulas they are going to ask. And next is of course errors and measurement with related to the experimental physics. So again, so there are every chapter we have experiments, we are studying in each chapter, some experiments are there, like in current electricity we have studied potentiometer, okay, in simple harmonic motion we have studied simple pendulum, okay, in sound waves we have studied resonance tube experiment. Likewise every chapter we know that we are measuring something and we are trying to calculate the things, right. So simple, whenever we are measuring something we are doing error, and the same error is reflecting when we are calculating also. So in that, what are that random errors, how do you calculate and all with respect to the experiments. So because experimental physics is also there, so that is why we cannot afford to lose the marks here also, right. Okay, and then comes one of the very good chapter, that is the rotational dynamics in our first year mechanics, right. So generally first year mechanics, if you have a strong command in right from kinematics, Newton's laws, collisions, center of mass, work energy, power, everything, then we are comfortably doing the problems in rotational dynamics. But again it counts like, okay, in our first year we have spent a lot of time, we have got the good abilities, then it is fine. Okay, even otherwise also there are definitely, I'm talking about in the mains level, not for the JEE advanced level. JEE advanced level you need to have a lot of good strong knowledge, okay, but when it comes strong practice, and when it comes to the JEE mains level, okay, so nicely you can go through moment of inertia concepts, which are very easy: moment of inertias, parallel axis theorem, perpendicular axis theorem, and applications of that. Okay, combination with center of mass also chances. And the next one in the mains level, questions will be asked on the torque. So generally in rotational dynamics, they will not go beyond these two: moment of inertia or torque. Okay, torque again in the rotational equilibrium and angular accelerations. Okay, tau is equal to I alpha based questions. Or if not, also again the next step would be torque tau bar is equal to R bar cross P bar. Okay, that angular momentum L bar is equal to tau R bar cross P bar. So based on that also you'll be getting a lot of questions, if at all, in the rotational dynamics is concerned. So that means that is a angular momentum of a particle about some point. Okay, R bar cross P bar, right? So this is a first set of topics, easily sure shot questions from each and every chapter you are going to get, and which will not take much of your time. Okay, and easily you can score. So whenever we are in a revision mode, so first we are making sure that we are covering some very good topics, compulsory questions with minimum effort. When we cover, we'll have a lot of confidence, okay, built up, right? Okay, so the next set of discussion will be the topics which will definitely have a high weightage, but also which are taking good time. Again, the good time depends on your past history also, right? So like, okay, we have done lot of problems earlier. Okay, we are having good amount of knowledge in that, good clarity, more clarity. Okay, so then it's very good. Even if you don't have, also in each and every chapter I'll tell you some subtopics wise, okay, which you can go through properly, and so that you can get here also compulsory questions in these chapters for JEE mains. So electrostatics, so it's a very important chapter, electrostatics. So in which, so it again depends what to revise. So it's always better to cover the subtopics of like electric flux, electric potential, what exactly the meaning of electric potential, relation between electric field and electric potential, okay, electric flux with Gauss law, and electric dipole. Okay, instead of wasting the time on Coulomb's law and doing a lot of problems, it is better to invest your time on these subtopics, right, in electrostatics. Next is your current electricity. Again, either the question can be asked in the current electricity to find the resistance equivalent, or they can immediately go to the potentiometer measuring instruments, potentiometers, or they can go into the conversion of galvanometer into ammeter or voltmeter. So simple formulas there, simple applications. It is better to revise those things in the current electricity. And again comes capacitors chapter. So again it's a part of electricity and magnetism. So in the capacitors, basic knowledge of what exactly is the capacitor is there. How do you find that potential differences when you are connecting in a circuits? Okay, or else energy stored by the capacitor with the dielectrics compulsory. Whenever capacitors are putting, they will introduce the dielectrics also. So or else in capacitor they will be putting the question in RC circuits. Okay, combination of resistance and capacitors, RC circuits, charging and discharging. Okay, on that they can also put a questions. Now next chapter is our electromagnetic induction. So this is again a very important chapter and compulsory question, electromagnetic induction. You have in that, I can make electromagnetic induction into two parts. One is Faraday's law. Okay, you are finding out induced EMF, either it can be motional EMF or time varying magnetic field, or the second part is completely on the inductors regarding self-induced EMF, mutual inductances, and energy stored by the inductor, potential drop across the inductor, flux in the inductor. Like the two parts you can take it. So either of this, definitely you are going to get a question, and most of the time they will be asking you the question the first part only, because every student, the basic thing, basic idea of electromagnetic induction, whether it's a motional EMF or time varying magnetic field, okay, that self-induced EMFs, whatever is there, so that the knowledge the students need to have in electromagnetic induction, right? Okay, then comes ray optics. Again, it's a very good vast chapter, ray optics. Okay, lot of practice is required, but there are certainly some topics are there in the ray optics also in the unit. So in which you will get compulsory question and most probability is there, like prism, okay, or total internal reflection. So sometimes the combination of total internal reflection in a prism is also asked. So for a ray optics, or if at all if they are going into lenses, so they'll be asking you some little combination of lenses or lenses with mirrors like that. So basic ray diagrams is very important. Or sometimes they'll be going with the optical instruments also, in which you need to have a basic diagram of every instrument, like simple microscope, compound microscope, and also telescopes, right? Okay. Next, again in the first year mechanics, we have taken friction chapter, so which is also having good weightage, compulsory question in the friction chapter. So always having a students having a doubt like Newton's laws is there, friction is there, which one we have to revise. So I say when you revise friction, it's almost that you have revised Newton's laws also. No need to revise the Newton's laws separately. So completely nicely you can do friction. So basic concepts of friction. What is the static friction? What is kinetic friction? Right? And block on block diagrams, how the friction will be acting, and especially on the inclined planes, how the frictions will be acting. So compulsory you are going to expect a questions on the friction also, right? Our next set of chapters, which are also having high weightage, and of course more time is also there, time also it will take more. Work energy power, again it's a chapter on the mechanics. So we should definitely know, the student has to know that what is work energy theorem and what is the concept of power, instantaneous power and average power. The questions will be put up on that, or else they'll be clubbing these questions along with the dynamics of circular motion also. So mostly, so students should know the applications of the work energy theorem. And of course, as you know, any question of work or energy, even without using conservation of energy, you can simply use it to solve the problems by using only simply work energy theorem. All right. Okay. And next is again in the mechanics, you have center of mass and collisions, right? So center of mass, as we know, just we have to revise completely each and every rigid body. What is the center of mass? Positions of the center of mass, what is the velocity of center of mass, what is the acceleration of the center of mass, and the correct basic concept of the center of mass, how to find the net force acting on the center of mass, right? And regarding the collisions also, so in the collisions again, so we should know the formulas for head-on collisions. It can be elastic or inelastic head-on collisions, or the questions will also be asked on oblique collisions. So simple basic fundamental thing is conservation of linear momentum. Initial momentum of the total system is equal to the final momentum of the total system. Most of the time they will be putting a question on oblique collisions only, in which you have to have a strong knowledge of vectors. So nicely draw the vectors, take the resultant of the two vectors before collision, okay, take the resultant of the whatever the vectors are there after collision, and nicely conserve them, initial linear momentum and final linear momentum. And whether it is oblique collision or head-on collision, when it is elastic collisions, definitely before and after kinetic energies are also conserved. So basic points which definitely it will be touched compulsory. As a student, yes, this student should know these points compulsory, right? Okay. And our next is gravitation chapter. Again, it's a very good vast chapter, but most of our subtopics with gravitation, when you take gravitational field, gravitational potential, or relation between gravitational field and gravitational potential, they will be linking this gravitation and electrostatics, both will be linked, as we know, up to relation between gravitational field and gravitational potential, same as electrostatics, so you cannot skip that, right? And further in the gravitation chapter, so definitely it will be asked regarding the satellites. What is the total energy of a satellite? What is the kinetic energy? What is the potential energy of a satellite? And if you want to put the satellite from one orbit to the other orbit, how much work you need to do, isn't it? And regarding the energies of satellite, it is same equations, almost similar type of equations, expressions, what you are going to get in Bohr's hydrogen model also, when electron is moving around the nucleus, right or not? Electron moving around the nucleus because of the electrostatic force of attraction. Now here are moving around the nucleus because of the gravitational force of attraction, correct? And same type of formulas what you will be getting in Bohr's hydrogen model, electron moving around the nucleus, and here satellites. And apart from satellites, you also have likely the questions will be on planets, okay, based on the Kepler's laws, especially Kepler's second law, what exactly it is, okay, We have to go through properly, right? And related problems, we need to solve it. And our next chapter is again one more very good chapter, simple harmonic motion. So here in the simple harmonic motion, it's really a vast chapter. How many extent you want, you can go in this particular chapter. Okay, if it is JEE advanced, they are asking very depth and very good questions will be asked. But when it comes to the JEE mains question, so little bit smart. So here SHM is divided into kinematics of SHM and dynamics of SHM. So in both of these, as per JEE mains is concerned, if you go through the basic concepts of kinematics of SHM, that is enough, because most of the time the questions will be asked on kinematics of SHM, because students should know what exactly is the concept of simple harmonic motion. Okay, what is the phases in that, right? And how much time it will take to go from one position to the other position in that, how much time it is taking, and mainly how simple harmonic motion is linked with a uniform circular motion to find out those angles and all. Okay, so that is regarding the simple harmonic motion. If you know the basic concept in the simple harmonic motion, that it is covering equal angles in equal intervals of time, just like a uniform circular motion, so problems will be solved very easily, even without putting pen in the paper. Also you can put easily, tell some of the answers in that particular kinematics of simple harmonic. And our next chapter, thermodynamics. Again, this is a first year related thermodynamics. Okay, it's a very good chapter, and compulsory weightage. Even you may not wonder that you may get 2 questions in the thermodynamics also, right? So 1 question is compulsory, and minimum 2 questions also possibility is there. And in this also, in 2 questions. First is, so any process, it can be any process, PV power x equal to constant, it can be any process. In that process, how do you find what is heat transferred, what is the change in internal energy, what is the work done? If you can practice those type of problems, and how do you find the molar specific heat in that particular process? Any type of process you have to convert in the form of PV power x, or sometimes it can be given as a graph also, right? So if you know that basic concepts of in thermodynamics, for any process, how do you calculate the work done, heat transferred, change in internal energy, and molar specific heat, definitely you can nicely do the problems in the thermodynamics. Even 2 problems also, definitely you can expect that. And the next one is thermal properties of matter. In this, again, you have mainly this calorimetry and heat transfer. Out of these 2 topics, definitely 1 question will be coming either from heat transfer or either from calorimetry, or sometimes it can be both chapters also. So such an important topic in thermal properties of matter also, right? So these are all the chapters which are having definitely very good weightage, and of course it also depends on our past history, how we have covered these chapters, how much practice we have done in these chapters. Okay, that depends on the student to student. In that also you can always pick up some good subtopics which are important subtopics, and you can practice them. Okay, and definitely they are having very good weightage, right? So these 2, whatever the first set of chapters and this second set of chapters, easily it will be covering about our 70% or 75% of our marks easily. Okay, and the remaining topics are also there. Okay, so again, after this one, we have some more topics which we need not have to put much of our effort. Of course, though they may have a little less weightage, but still we cannot miss out this, because we need not have to put much effort on these also, right? So it's also 2 things you have to run parallelly. So are we keeping more effort? Okay, and what is the weightage? Okay, so here we are classifying them as of course low weightage, but at the same time they are very less time consuming, so we cannot miss out these chapters, right? So one is wave optics, right? In that wave optics, so please go through Young's double slit experiment in that related formulas, and diffraction. In that diffraction also, especially our resolving powers of microscopes and telescopes. Okay, in the diffraction, direct formulas, you can apply them. If you are getting a question easily, you can do it without much time. And also in polarization, as you know, there are 2 laws. One is Malus law, questions may come, or Brister's law. Just if you go through those formulas, and just 5-6 problems, if you can go through those previously, easily you can solve. So not much time is required to go through wave optics, but most of the time So chances are more for Young's double slit experiment. Okay, right. And next is our classical magnetism. Again, the point is like you have electromagnetism, you have classical magnetism. Okay, most of the time, of course, electromagnetism questions will be asked, but there is a chance that if not electromagnetism, then there is a chance of asking classical magnetism. Though chances are less, but still, again, I'm telling you what, it's a very less time taking. So it's better you invest your time here. So you no need to put much time also here, but you can go through, right? Okay. So classical magnetism, in that also you properties of paramagnetic, ferromagnetic and all, okay, and the hysteresis curve is there. And bar magnets, when you are placing in external magnetic field, what is the net force, net torque, okay, same things will also run in electrostatics in electric dipole also. So similar things are there, so that's why easily you can go through, right? So vectors, so separately as a question may not be asked, but the combined vectors with some other chapter wherein forces are there, like in electrostatics forces are there, magnetic fields, electromagnetism forces are there, that they'll try to combine with vectors resulted, and they'll try to ask you. Kinetic theory of gases, okay, just what we have to know, degrees of freedom, right? So already in chemistry also we'll be studying, so we have to know the degrees of freedom, we have to know the internal energy concept, we have to know the specific heats, so nicely we can do, okay, the problems in kinetic theory of gas also. Of course, mechanical, next is mechanical properties of solids. As you know, it's a chapter called as elasticity also, right? And in that, so what are the possibilities? Okay, basic definitions: bulk modulus, Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, Poisson's ratio, restraint curve, right? And Young's modulus related questions. What is the energy stored? So based on that, so nicely you can go through those formulas properly, and some problems if you practice also, you can easily, it's a revision part, okay, right? And next, yeah, and still you have the last set of chapters which will take, of course, more time and low weightage. So this will can be our last choice to revise the topics in that. And in that also, I'll tell you, if you want to revise, of course they are a little bit time consuming, but there are certain subtopics which I'll going to tell you, like in waves and sound waves, you revise the Doppler's effect in sound waves, okay, in only the string waves you can revise the standing waves, tonometer loss, right? And here Doppler's effect, argon pipes, okay, beats, combinations, problems you can go through, chances are there. Electromagnetism, very good chapter, of course, but if you are, again, I'm telling you, it's your past history. I mean, when you are regular classes, you have practiced a lot of problems, you have good idea. Yes, okay, you can definitely revise this. No, if you don't have that much exposure and all, so there are certain areas, just force acting on a current carrying conductors, okay, charged particle moving in a combined electric and magnetic fields, like that, some simple subtopics, you can go through those formulas and you boost up your confidence in that particular chapter. Next comes kinematics, of course, very good chapter. Every chapter you are using this one, okay, as a whole. Separately, the in kinematics question do come, if at all they are coming, it is based on the relative velocity concepts, or if at all graph related questions, okay, so that will be also your choice. And of course, Newton's laws of motion, as I told you, when you are already going through friction properly, okay, so separately you need not have to go through this Newton's laws of motion at all. And mechanical properties of liquid. See, this is, of course, the chances are there, definitely you will be getting a question either in fluid statics or fluid dynamics or viscosity or surface tension, but again, that depends on your past, how much we have done, okay, in our first year, okay. So now it's all these clubbing, the chapters are for these last phase, okay, which will definitely boost your confidence, what I have to revise properly, okay, which I have to make sure, okay, if at all, if high time consuming, in that also separately specific subtopics what I have to go through and doing the problems, okay. So these are the, of course, more time taking consuming, of course, a little bit weightage compared to the other ones, okay, but in that also subtopics are there which you can always go through, as I was telling you, okay. So that will really boost up your confidence, okay. Hope you have enjoyed this video and you have got good, little bit of confidence. Okay, how do you handle all these chapters? Okay, because simple, the idea of doing this video is boosting the confidence of the students, especially in the final phase. It counts a lot in the, especially in the final phase, lot it counts how much you put your effort. Okay, please make sure that don't waste much of your time in this final phase. Okay, utilize each and every hour of your time properly and smartly, right? So to get a good marks in the JEE mains exam. So finally, I wish you all the very best to do very well in the 2022 JEE mains exam. All the best. Thank you.